which are somewhat unusable because they're a slope and an easement.
But yes,
You can't throw anything on it. What can you do on it?
well, it's my understanding that that's what staff proposed. It represents about half of the property, and I believe I heard that works, so that's.
That's not what I heard, because I heard that what they proposed is 10 acres, the 5 and the 5. So again, we're back to, I don't understand what the proposal is then. Is it the proposal for 15 acres or for 10 acres?
We described it as the 10 plantable acres and then the abutting side slopes and buffer that would essentially go to the fence, which would be 15 total acres. And
So that gives them 5 plantable acres.
it gives them 10 plantable acres, or actually, if you want to look at it, we give them 8. So this is 5, there's 3 acres here, and then this is the essentially safety zone 4, which is where they could have teachable infrastructure. And we had recommended essentially the strips that are along here, because they had indicated that some of the uses such as beehives and kind of ancillary storage structures and things like that could be used in those spaces.
I mean, I'm happy to leave my motion that way. I was trying to respect Jim's request that should it come along that we need to get a Caltrans access in there, that we can get it in. I mean, if we wanted to just say, no, we're not gonna do the Caltrans access there, it always has to be over on the far east side, I mean, we could do that too.
But what I heard was that the farm needs 10 acres of developable, croppable land. They need 5 acres of training land, and this doesn't accomplish that, as I see it, because they can't farm on the 5 acres that's around the outside. Where do they get 10 acres to farm on? I mean, I'm more in favor of giving them 5 acres to start the thing and see where it goes from there, and maybe we expand it in the future if this goes. I'm not completely comfortable that the model that they've determined and developed at this point is going to work. I'd like to see it worked on for a while.
So I have a question along those lines.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. There is a motion on the floor that is not been seconded. If you're dealing with clarification of the motion to decide whether anybody wants to second it, I think that's really what is proper for discussion right now.
Why don't I procedurally?
I'll second the motion so we can talk about it. How's that? Go ahead.
So along the lines you were talking, Paul, to the extent that if we do this, all of us on the board, I think, are concerned, is it really going to work, and how do we measure that it is working? So the question I have is, can you do something with the 5 acres or the 10 plantable acres? I mean, maybe the education thing is that you prove it up and you say, yeah, look at it, and you do the next step is education. It seems like getting the thing up and running is a critical factor before you can really start educating people. So I'm just trying to figure out if there's a way you can do it stepwise so that we're not in for the whole enchilada at the front.
So, okay, what does that translate?
I would support what you said. In terms of the 5 acres, you said 5 acres at some point after that.
Well, what I was suggesting was that we give them the 10 acres, which is the 2, 3, and 5, and then we consider down the road if they're successful, if their property is available, we'll move it in. We can't, we can't.
Presumably with those 10, you could plant 10, not have the education center day one, break even, which would be an accomplishment, and move to the next step.
Right. Because I just don't see the 5 acres around the outside as, yeah, maybe you can put some bee things there, but beyond that, I don't know what you can use that property for, because it's, part of half of it's a slope.
It's one of the 10 slopes, so it can be used for storage or other things.
Jim, can I make a couple of comments in response? I did the motion the way I did because I think we need to start the teaching element because we're gonna have students out from day one to get the farm started, and there really does need to be teaching at that point in time. Secondly, in the case of the side slopes, certain crops, lettuce for example, work fine in the 1 to 10 slope, or at least as I've been informed. So I'd like to see them start with all of that, and that's why I made the motion the way I did.
Okay, Ken, so I have some pretty good concerns, just like completely commingled at this point. So
I think
I have
we
a
need-
motion in a second, and I can call, we'll get on a slippery slope. I can call for a vote here, and if we get three and it passes, that's great, but the only, I'd be voting no, and the only reason being is that